Шановні колеги, вітаю в українському.
Dear colleagues, welcome to Ukrainian Crisis Media Center. We begin with the urgent information from the Antiterrorist Operation Zone. And pay attention, after Colonel Lysenko will listen to Anton Gerashchenko, counselor to the advisor to the Interior Minister about the purge in the police. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. The forces of the anti-terrorist operation continue to their offensive against the position of terrorists. The battles are going on to liberate from Russian mercenaries Donetsk, Luhansk, Ilovaisk, Krasny Luch, Shakhtar, Torez, Snizhne, Zogrez, Gorlivka, Stanичny, Luhansk. The units of the armed forces of Ukraine continue their operation to take under control the settlement of Blagodatny in Ambrosivska district, and also they are engaged in action in Yasinvata and Zhdanivka. The Ukrainian military have taken under control Ilovaisk with the counter. They have repelled 3 counterattacks of terrorists together with National Guards who used artillery and tanks. Ukrainian military also continue to hold under control the height Savur-Mohyla. Yesterday, for almost 4 hours, they've been repelling the attacks of the terrorists, and it was a success. The height is under the control of Ukrainian military. Also under control is Donetsk airport, and over the day, the anti-terrorist operation forces exchanged fire with terrorists 32 times, in particular in the vicinity of Krasnogirka, Дебальцево, Іловайськ, Сабівка, Кутейники, Лужки, Донецькі, Весела Гора, Варгунський роз'їзд, Станиця Луганська, Майорське Фрунзе, Петрівський and Donetsk airport. The firing and shelling on Ukrainian positions from the territory of Russian Federation continues. Yesterday at 11:50 a.m. from the vicinity of the Russian village Seleznyovo, Rostov region, the Russians have fired at the settlement of Ambrosivka, Donetsk region. We also observed the activity of Russian intelligence on the shore of the Sea of Azov. Yesterday, the Ukrainian Sea Coast Guards have found 3 cutters, Mongoose of the border guards of the Russian Federation, who were approaching Mariupol. After the warning that they will be fired upon, the cutters came back to the territorial waters of Russian Federation. Ukrainian border guards also found 2 Russian drones in Donetsk Oblast, the region not far from the settlement of Sedovo, and 1 other in Kherson region. During the 19th of August, the Ukrainian border guards and custom officers have not started the procedure of the documentation of the Russian humanitarian convoy. We haven't got any documentation yet. The mission of the International Committee of Red Cross sent to the administration of the state border guards of Ukraine only the list of delegation of the organization that will be following the cargo with humanitarian mission. International Red Cross representatives said that they haven't got guarantees of safety for their advanced group mission. The terrorists are continuing to shell peaceful residents on the temporarily controlled territories. From Grad territories they got from Russia, they fired 8 times at the settlement of Olenivka, Donetsk region. In Makiivka, Donetsk region, the terrorists have shelled residential blocks and industrial objects. There are casualties among the peaceful residents. In Makiivka, the militants of the terrorist group in Donetsk People's Republic have made fortifications right in the middle of a residential block. And local residents are against this. The so-called Donetsk People's Republic came here to dig a trench as if for the people to hide there. And now the residents of our residential block are filling the trench in order to avoid shelling. Yesterday, the terrorists have kidnapped 22 people in Donetsk region. As from the beginning of April, more than 1,025 people were kidnapped, 558 were freed, and the fate of 468 are still in captivity. Luckily, the information about the kidnapping of 3 peaceful residents in Kharkiv was not confirmed. In Shakhtarsk, the terrorists have mined the perimeter of mine Victoria and Yasinovato, which provides the exit to Chervonogordisk district. We tell this so that peaceful residents understand which roads are safe to travel. After the shelling from the terrorists, the gas pipeline of low pressure on the territory of the village of Chernukhina was damaged. Also, the mast of base stations of mobile operators in Krasnodon region and a line of electricity transferred. The situation in Donetsk remains complicated. The restoration works are continuing where electricity and gas supply is concerned. At the moment in Donetsk, 19 residential houses remain without gas supply because of the full or partial ruination by Russian mercenaries of flats and houses. Gas supply cannot be given to 68 units. In 5 towns and villages of Donetsk region, over the 19th of August, the lighting in houses for 330,000 residents was restored. Yesterday, 420 workers worked to renew electricity supply, including, and they also involved 136 special vehicles. The representative of the U.S. State Department, Mary Harf, condemned the destruction on the 18th of August of a convoy of refugees who tried to leave the combat action zone in Luhansk region. She expressed her condolences to the families of the victims. Besides, she positively evaluated the plans of multilateral meeting in Minsk with the participation of presidents of Ukraine and Russia, and she also stressed that Moscow has to corroborate with its actions their statements of about the escalation of the Ukrainian crisis. And now we have a positive news, another positive news. We told you about the fake clone of the press center of ATO in Facebook. Now our original page has gone through official confirmation in Facebook and now has a special sign. Pay attention to it.
Do you confirm the announcement that to Luhansk, a column of Russian equipment with the Green Men arrived, and tanks and also field kitchen is also there? Thank you for your question. That information is suspicious because there are too much details were distributed yesterday and in the morning. We don't have official confirmation from our intelligence about that group of equipment, heavy machinery and tanks. The head of Yuri Tandit, the head of negotiation groups. He told that in one of the battalions he saw the older son of the President Poroshenko. Do you have information about that? I don't have that information. Could you clarify the situation about Ilovaisk? You told that it's under control, but are there still attacks of terrorists there? Thank you. National Guards succeeded yesterday and today to get into the city. To say that it is completely liberated from terrorists, no, we cannot say that, but it's under control of Ukrainian military men. And it's true that terrorists are trying to take it back, and they use tanks and artillery and armored personnel carriers, but we hold this city. How important is it for terrorists? Why do they need it? You see, Ilovaisk is a hub through which there are rail tracks and there are roads that were used by terrorists, and through those roads they received support from Russia. Yesterday, the president had a meeting with our military men, and they decided to switch to a new format of ATO. Now, the main point is the main task is to block the supply chains and to divide them into sectors and to destroy them by sectors. So we don't spread along the whole front. So every unit will have a concrete task on destroyment of a group of terrorists. Yesterday, Russian media told that in Makeyevka there were strikes against kindergarten, and on a kindergarten, and 10 kids died. Do you have that information? You see, information about death of anyone on the territory which is under control of terrorists, if that information comes from terrorists or from a country that supports them, that information is fake, distorted. We are not surprised that information comes from that. We never had objective information from terrorists and from Russian Federation. Thank you. Is there such a fact? There was a strike on a kindergarten. We don't have such effects. We don't receive information from them. There was a news about a big number of casualties from Irina Gerashenko. She told about 9 people. What's official statistics, and what are the losses of Ukrainian military men for the last day? Thank you. During the last day, we have nine military men died and 22 were wounded. Tell me, please, could you comment, if you know, of Russian photographer Tenin? Is he alive? Where is he? He disappeared. And in Russia they say that Ukrainian armed forces arrested him, and we don't have information about that man. About the column of those IDPs and who were killed, and how many of them. And also there was information that MiG-22 was shot down, and there was information that MiG-24 was shot down last night. As far as I remember, we don't have MiG-24. We have Su-24, but they were not shot down. None of them was shot at. And the first question was about IDPs, that column of IDPs. On that territory, there are engagements, and the rescue groups cannot work there. So we have information that 17 people died and six were wounded, and 3 of them are in a very bad shape in the unlookable.
America.
Okay.
Translate. I'm just wondering, with this upcoming meeting in Minsk, what sort of outcome would be, is from a military standpoint, what sort of outcome are you hoping to see? What kind of concrete decisions could be made to help end this conflict?
З точки зору проведення антитерористичної операції, які наші сподівання від проведення зустрічі у Мінську 26 серпня?
Our expectations, you know, this will be the first meeting between the president of Russia and the president of Ukraine and Belarus. And it's a huge progress that representatives from international organizations like OSCE, they also agreed to participate in that meeting. So 3 issues are on the agenda. One of them is the situation in the east of Ukraine, how to solve the conflict. The President Poroshenko underlines that a peaceful plan he put on the table is still in force, and we are ready to work according to that plan. Nobody needs a war, this war. You and many others told that you called representatives of GRU and FSB, Russian FSB. Where are they? What do you know about them? Where are they kept? All who are detained so there is a special service which is working with them. They give evidence, so they provide information, and that process is not for 1 hour or 2. All information they have, it should be checked, documented, and only then there will be a decision about what to do with them. Such cases were even in April. I understand, but I don't have information because it's you know. Dealing with Russian officers and intelligence officers, it takes a lot of time. There is a process. It's a long process, and FSB is involved in this. What's the position of Security and Defense Council? And it is run by Mr. Lysenko, who was a student in cryptography institute in Russia, and that's a part of FSB structure. I don't have any information about that. So sorry. Yesterday there was information about soldiers from Brigade 30. And they told that among 4,000 who sent, only 80 came back. They demand explanations why. What information do you have about that? Thank you for your question. Yes, there was such information on behalf of military men. But you have to understand that they could not see everything which is happening there. As to numbers, I'm not ready to comment. As far as I know, they didn't have 4,000 in the brigade in general. There were not so many of them. Thank you very much. Next.